Hey there, I know these main nuggets can be a little bit rough and people tend to skip them more than the fun ones. So I'm going to intersperse some cuteness relief throughout this video. Keep an eye out for it. And also, I'm wearing a dress. So that's pleasant, right? In the last nugget, I introduced the topic of animal testing and discussed the scientific inefficacy of it. Today I'm going to address why the hell it's still happening. As we saw in Nugget 16, non-animal tests are generally more reliable, less costly, and always more humane. So you may ask, why the f*** are we still testing on animals? Well, here are the three main reasons. Momentum, meaning familiarity, or it's what we've always done. Money, and for companies to cover their asses. So, reason 1, momentum. According to SaferMedicines.org, which, by the way, is an organization that has nothing to do with animal rights and everything to do with human safety, many factors perpetuate animal experimentation, the most obvious of which is momentum. The tradition is so deeply ingrained that the whole system is based on it. Technological lock-in and status quo bias are powerful factors here. This is the same argument of eating animals and animal byproducts because it's what we've always done. And now on to the second reason, the big number 2. And I mean that in both ways. Money. Researchers attract grant money based on how many papers they publish in scientific literature. It is much easier and faster to publish papers using animals than by doing human-based research. Remember Dr. Vlasic from nugget number 16? He's the medical doctor who's also an animal rights activist. Dr. Vlasic states, "I was told that I could make a name for myself if I published papers and experimented on animals. And I was told that universities were given lots of money by the government as long as they continued to do experiments on animals. Being the naive young doctor and wanting to follow the lead of others, I did a year of vivisection and visited animal labs throughout the country. What I learned and what I saw with my own eyes was mind-boggling. I learned that the pharmaceutical companies spent millions of dollars taking doctors out to dinner and paying for lavish vacations for them and their families. And in turn, these researchers were to manipulate animal experiments to get the results that the drug industries wanted. I learned that the way universities get grant money isn't by coming up with the best and most scientific research methods, but by continuing to use animals as a model because of the billions of dollars made in the vivisection industry. Greed, corruption, and absolute power. These are the things that drive the vivisection industry, not saving lives or preventing disease. The scientists who still use animals in their research are not only frauds, but are addicted to an outdated form of research. Colin Blakemore, for instance, who has sewn kittens' eyes closed for fun and profit, is no more a true scientist than the mad scientists in the monster movies we watched in the 50s. In all reality, vivisection is a business. The organization Last Chance for Animals states that vivisection uses images of sick children and notions of medical necessity to play upon our sympathies and generate revenue. In reality, children all over the world routinely die from starvation and curable diseases, while we waste millions on animal experimentation. Now, just how much money are we talking about? Every year, the U.S. vivisection industry spend over $18 billion on animal experiments. The United States National Institute for Health is the world's greatest source that funds animal experimentation, with an annual budget of more than $13 billion. And just where does this money come from? Your wallet. More than $16 billion of U.S. taxpayer money goes to animal testing, despite its ineffectiveness. And just what are you paying for? Here are some examples of animal experimentation funded by taxpayer money. At the University of Pennsylvania, to study the results of head trauma, primates were strapped into machinery to receive high-impact blows to the head. A video camera captured by animal rights activists showed footage of vivisectionists taunting the injured animals who were left with severe brain damage. In order to examine severe burns on live tissue, the United States Army restrained pigs who were burned alive with a flamethrower until their charred flesh could be removed in large pieces. In order to measure injury recovery, the Uniformed Services University Department of Defense strapped dogs down and cut apart the skin on their knees, leaving flaps. At the end of the study, all the dogs were killed. At Emory University, to demonstrate that the eye's protein levels are the same in sight-deprived monkeys compared to normal ones, animal experimenters sewed the monkeys' eyelids shut. Our government-run space agency, NASA, committed $1.75 million in taxpayer money to fund experiments subjecting 1-foot-tall squirrel monkeys to massive amounts of radiation. All of these cruel labs are very expensive. Each dog lab at the University of Colorado, for instance, costs taxpayers about $40,000. And finally, reason number 3. Companies covering their asses. Pharmaceutical companies continue to do animal tests because they provide liability protection in court when a drug happens to kill or injure a person. Companies test on animals in order to provide data that they can use to defend themselves when they are sued by injured customers, even though the very same courts have ruled that the FDA has failed to show that the results of animal tests can be extrapolated to humans. Basically, the unreliability of animal tests allows companies to put virtually any product on the market. Thanks for tuning into the Nugget. I hope I provided enough cuteness relief for you. I see you guys next Wednesday. Please visit BiteSizeVegan.org and sign up for the newsletter for free updates, exclusives, and to never miss a nugget. And be sure to subscribe to the channel, as well as watch all of the Bite Size Vegan nuggets on the Bite Size Vegan Nugget playlist.